Hi, it's Mike Baer with Free Speech Media. I'm here with Risa Schuster. And go ahead, Risa, the floor is yours. You're welcome to talk about anything you want. Let people know your background and a little bit of your story, whatever you want to let people know.
Okay. My name is Raisa Schuster, as Mike already said, and I just would like to talk to Canadians and tell a little bit about myself. I am an immigrant from Soviet Union, came to Canada around approximately more than 40 years ago, and I left Soviet Union as a political and religious refugee and came to a beautiful, gorgeous country of Canada, which I am so grateful that my child was growing up here in this country. And everything was very beautiful. I had political freedom, I had religious freedom, and pretty much I was very happy. Mm-hmm. I decided that in the very early stages of my life in Canada that first things first, I have to become Canadian. And therefore my language, I learned my language, I became Canadian, I made assimilation as much as possible, and I was actually accepted by Canadian society. So I found my jobs and I've changed lots of jobs, but in overall, I was very happy and lucky to be in Canada. I started to realize a difference which Canada started to become probably earlier than Justin Trudeau came to power. But when Justin Trudeau came to power, that was very, very pronounced, and I started do not like a lot of things. And my first thing was when he started to talk about political correctness, which I never could understand. What does it even mean, political correctness? Then he started to make public apologies to indigenous people and to gay and lesbian people and to this minority and to that minority. And I was listening and I said, why is he apologizing on my behalf?
Yeah.
Because he was apologizing from all Canadians.
So it's this idea of collective guilt. How is it that you're guilty for something you didn't do? You weren't even in the country.
Exactly.
You didn't even live in Canada.
And when I was listening to all that, I said, okay, I am a minority in Canada. I am a Jewish person. I am waiting for him to start apologizing on behalf of Canadians for Jewish people that they were persecuted here in Canada, that during the war Canada did not accept the ship and send them back going in the ocean without knowing where to go. Mm-hmm. No, that did not happen. But I said, okay, because being Jewish in Canada, I do not need him to apologize to me because I know who I am and I am happy with what I have. Then COVID came. And I started to realize every day goes by, I see more and more socialism in this country. And I remember how when people started to wear masks. And until July, it wasn't even mandatory. So people wore, didn't wear, it was okay. Then in July, it started to be mandatory, and people tell me, why are you making such a big deal? This is only masks. And I was saying, I said, it starts with masks. Yeah. But it will be more and more and more, and you will see it, you will witness it. And here we are in January of 2021. Yeah. And we have masks, and we have lockdowns, and we have vaccination, not mandatory, but. And when government is telling me but, I say, what do you mean, the government? Because I remember on June 17, 2020, Doug Ford, in his briefing, said, masks are not going to be ever mandatory. I cannot make masks mandatory because it violates human rights of Canadians. But I will encourage it. And then he said, and if cities want to make their own bylaw, that's okay. So here we are. Here we are. So by listening to all this, by reviewing all this, and I also have to say that when the pandemic was announced, I also was afraid. Probably like everybody else, because we didn't know what we are dealing with. So my mom, God bless her, she's going to be 90 years of age this March. And when in last March, we celebrated her birthday on 15th of March, and after that, I stopped going to her, and I didn't visit my mom until the end of April. And I only seen her in the beginning of May. I would bring her food and leave it at her door. My mom lives by herself, elderly woman. Thank God that she likes to walk. So she would go outside and she would go for small shopping to small stores and everything else. But as I was talking to her on the phone, I started to realize psychologically, she goes down and down and down because she doesn't see me.
Depression? Depression?
She didn't have a depression per se because she's, yeah, but you could say that it was some kind of depression. At least it was anxiety, for sure.
Okay.
And by the end of April, when I started to see and read, I said, hell with it, Doug Ford. I'm going to go and visit my mom.
Yeah.
And I started to go, and at first I would go to her home and I was afraid to hug her. But I know she wanted that. So I said, you know what? She is not that young. She doesn't have many years to live. I have to give her pleasure of being together with her family. Today, after everything what we know, what's happening in long-term care homes, I say, I'm so grateful that she is not there.
Yeah.
Because
she'd be dead.
She would be gone. She would be gone. With all the lockdowns, with all the loneliness, because my daughter's father, which is my ex-husband, he lives in one of these facilities. He says that right now, with all lockdowns, he is a young man, but he is paralyzed. Not completely, but partly. And he says to my daughter, he says, they don't even let me out of my room.
I think a lot of these long-term care centers exist because the family structure has broken down in Canada.
Yeah.
How is it possible that people don't have their parents living with them, their elderly parents, in their final years of life? They send them off to a home to be killed by the useless government employees, and they don't care?
You know what? In a way, I absolutely agree with you, because families should take care of families. But in Canada and in North America, let's put it North America, all the young people are busy running here and running there and working and this and that, and they don't have time for their parents. In a way I understand, because elderly people sometimes could be a lot of nuisance.
It's hard, yeah.
But this is our parents.
Right.
This is our parents.
Yeah.
And I was always a good daughter. I cannot say that I always have patience for my mom, but I was always a good daughter. It's between him and her. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to mix in.
Yeah.
I do what I have to do to keep her comfortable. And I have to tell you that my mom actually is more knowledgeable about what's happening right now than a lot of people of her age or even a lot of Canadians, because I tell her. And the reason I tell her, because I do not want her to listen to this stupid news, to this corrupted news, and start to be scared even more. So when Doug Ford now announced, Doug Ford, by the way, I'm speaking to you right now, when you announced right now a total lockdown, stay home order, my mom started to be scared. Because she said, if I need to go to the store or I need to go just for a walk or to the bank, what if they will stop me on the street? This is Doug Ford on your watch, and after you telling me that you want to save every life, you are scaring my mama.
So your 90-year-old mother is scared of the police. She doesn't want to leave her house because she feels that she'll be stopped by the police.
That's what her thought when he announced that, which was just recently. And I told her, Mama, going for a walk to the store, to the bank, to the pharmacy, and to the doctor, Doug Ford allows. So go and continue to do what you do. But even to put something like that in the news for people who are, number one, elderly, number two, do not speak proper language.
It's abusive. It's abuse.
It's a total abuse. It's a total abuse. So if Doug Ford does not understand that, then it means, Doug Ford, you lost your moral compass. That's all I can say. So now, comparison with Soviet Union. We started to have huge censorship in Canada. And censorship in Soviet Union was like part of our life. Yeah. We never could say everything we wanted to say. We never were free of speech. But here in Canada, we have freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Why do we want to get rid of that? That's number one. Number two, Doug Ford encourages people to snitch on neighbors. That's Soviet Union 100%. That's Soviet Union 100%, and that's also Germany.
Yeah, East Germany.
East Germany, and even Germany under Hitler.
Yes.
Regime.
Oh, yes.
Under Hitler regime, there was not East-West, it was Germany, and people were encouraged to snitch.
Yeah.
So how can you, Doug Ford, and Justin Trudeau allow that in Canada?
Yeah.
Then now, latest news, Roman Baber was kicked out of Conservative caucus because he spoke the truth. Doug Ford, what are you doing? Do you think that if you're going to kick Roman out of your caucus, he is going to stop talking? No way. You have to check the facts. You have to check the facts like we all do. Because if you believe that we are stupid, a lot of people are. That I have to tell you, because you brainwash them 24/7 for 9 months. 24/7 you brainwash people and you put fear in people. And this is KGB tactics, by the way.
Yeah.
Because KGB in 1960s made a study that if you bombard people 24/7 with any news, negative or positive, doesn't matter, in 2 months you're going to have completely brainwashed people. And if you, after 2 months, come to them, to people, and tell them that everything what was told before, it's a lie, they will not believe you, because they already were conditioned and brainwashed and indoctrinated. So this is what the government of Canada is doing today to our beautiful country. So to people of Canada, I just want to say, wake up and wake up fast. Because we already have socialism, but it's not only socialism. It's socialism, fascism. And I'll tell you something else. Look what police is doing today. What police is doing today with freedom rally, it's a peaceful protest. Nobody is violating anything. We who are going to rallies peacefully to fight for freedom, we are doing it because government does not want to hear us. I wrote letters to Justin Trudeau and Theresa Tam and Mrs. Hajdu, who is Minister of Health. I wrote letters to all Ontario government. I wrote letter to my MP in Brampton, MPP in Brampton. I wrote letter to Patrick Brown, my mayor. I wrote letter to John Tory, mayor of Toronto, on behalf of my children and my mom, because they are residents of Toronto. And you know what I received? An automatic reply.
From all of them?
From all of them.
Not one of them actually properly responded?
No. And I also, before I wrote letters to all these officials, I decided to find out from health units of Peel Region and health unit of Toronto, what about mask discarding? Because I walk on the streets and masks are everywhere.
Yeah.
So I sent them requests to find out, are these masks, and I sent pictures of masks that I made pictures of.
Yeah.
And I sent them letters to say, are these masks biohazard? And you know, I did receive reply from both.
Oh.
It's not a biohazard waste.
Oh, okay.
Well, if it is not a biohazard waste, then the virus is not deadly. That's logically how it sounds to me.
Yeah.
So if the government admits that it's not a biohazard waste, so from health unit of Toronto, they said to me, only masks which doctors are wearing are biohazard.
What makes them different?
Okay, but that's okay. So masks for people are not biohazard. They could be thrown just anywhere, on a street. Who cares? So then the virus is not deadly.
Yeah.
And I'm not a doctor to understand that, because I use my common sense.
That's just simple logic. That's
yeah.
just simple logic.
Unfortunately, I can see so many people in Canada who don't have any common sense.
Yeah. Common sense is actually very uncommon.
Yes, you are absolutely right, Mike. You are absolutely right. So, anyway, so to people of Canada, please, please, please wake up. If you want freedom for yourselves and your children and your grandchildren, because we are losing our freedom faster than I ever imagined. But, of course, if you want to be part of globalism, be my guest, continue on with this charade. Yeah. Because this is political theater, has nothing to do with our health whatsoever. And Doug Ford, please don't ever tell me that you're taking care of my health, because I am 68-year-old woman. I know how to take care of my health. Why? Because I take supplements since I was very young. From 1990, I started to take supplements. And in 1990, I was only 38 years old. Okay? I eat healthy food. I do activities. And my immune system is intact. And I never had to do any kind of vaccination for flu. So don't tell me about COVID vaccine. And don't tell me that it's not mandatory, but. So that's to you, dear Doug Ford. And by the way, I wanted to tell you that I voted for you.
A lot of people got, fooled. A lot of people got fooled.
Yeah, I was part of the Fourth Nation, which actually was founded by your late brother. He would be ashamed of you, what you are doing with our country right now, with our province. And I am not afraid to tell you, I would love to come to your parliament when you have sessions and speak to all parliamentarians, unfortunately, you are so high that nobody can reach you. Why can't we talk to you? Why can't we talk to you personally? Why do I have to talk to you through camera, through YouTube, which you are not going to even listen or discard? You make me very upset, very upset. I do not want to say angry because I am trying to be not the angry person by my nature, but it's very, very, very disappointing and disturbing. I cannot see my grandson properly this year because you put fear into people, and our daughter doesn't want to come to our home, and she doesn't want us to come to her home. So in the summertime we could meet in parks. What kind of BS is that? Pardon my language.
Well, that's interesting because, I mean, one of the tenets of socialism is you have to break apart the family.
Yes.
Socialism can't succeed with strong families.
Yes, and this is what's happening. So censorship, snitching, breaking family, police force, kicking people out of the party line. Party line I only heard of in Soviet Union before we started to hear here that Belinda Karahailas, I believe Karahailas, her last name, was kicked out because she didn't agree with Bill 195. I don't agree with Bill 95. Since when, Duckford, you took upon yourself so much authority?
Yeah.
To rule over and to make it a national, this is not a national emergency.
No.
Even in national emergencies, people, countries like Canada, United States, New Zealand, Australia, and Britain have, first of all, common law and have constitution which overrides any kind of national authority. And I have to teach you that? Well, I don't know what else I can say.
Well, let's talk about this so-called vaccine. The vaccine is not actually a vaccine. It's a gene modification procedure. They're using synthetic RNA to modify people's genes. It can't. It's like a fraudulent deception to call this thing a vaccine. It's not a vaccine.
Okay. I probably agree with you, Mike, but because I am not a doctor, I do not want to make such a strong claim. But I definitely read a lot of materials about it, and I listened to a lot of proper doctors, not Dr. Brown, who made a model of the disaster.
Yeah.
And not Dr. Williams, who for 35 years is not even a doctor, but medical chief advisor.
Yeah, bureaucrat.
He is getting paid by Ford government, by our taxes, by the way.
Right.
So yes, I did listen a lot of proper doctors who are frontline doctors, who are scientists, who are immunologists, and I just cannot figure out why this opinion is being silenced by the media.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Why main media never talks about it, or
it doesn't fit into the narrative. It doesn't make people afraid.
But
all they're looking for is fear and negative news. They don't want to tell anything positive. If you don't have an impaired immune system, even if you catch COVID, it's not an issue.
Absolutely, 99.9% survival rate. And this is, by the way, Dyke-Ford, is official from Health Canada. And I have to tell you something. When I hear news on TV that you have so many cases per day, I go right away to health unit of every health unit of the province, and I check that specific day what's happening. In hospitals. Hospitals are not overloaded, but you are telling me that they are. And not to me, because I don't believe you, but you are fooling a lot of Canadians, and you are keeping them scared more and more and more. So I wonder, what is your agenda? You see, if I'm going to tell you that you want to sell, you and together with Justin Trudeau want to sell our country to globalism, you are going to call me conspiracy theorist. But it's not conspiracy theorist, it's conspiracy reality already.
Yeah.
Today, our Justin Trudeau openly told us on the main media, actually I've heard him on global news, that COVID gave him an opportunity for a great reset. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good, Justin.
Can you imagine? But he's stating it publicly in front of everybody. He just imagine how arrogant you have to be that you can announce that you're going to take over the country and then nobody does anything. Nobody says anything.
And you know why, Mike? Because it used to be a conspiracy theory by them, by the theorists. It's not anymore. So that's why they decided to be open.
It's open now.
They say, okay, we already brainwashed people, we already made them scared, now they are going to be like sheeple.
Yeah.
They are going to wear masks, they are going to keep distance, they are not going to see their family, they are going to forget about the values. Oh, by the way, another thing, religion in Soviet Union was prohibited.
Right. And they're trying to do
and
the same
look
thing
what's
here.
going on right now with churches here in Canada.
Right.
So where do we go? And you know what? I love Canada. And I actually do not blame majority of Canadians who were scared, because they were completely scared and indoctrinated. But I do blame the government, and I believe that in democratic society, government should be accountable.
Yes.
And you know what? If I can understand, Doug Ford, that in the beginning you were as scared as us. I can probably even believe that. But not anymore, because you know the facts the same as I do, but you do not want to acknowledge them. So if you don't have guts to come up to people of Ontario and tell openly, on open briefing, and say, I have to apologize to all of you. I was scared, I was misled by whoever it is, by whatever, United Nations, world leaders, but I am learning facts as you are, and I have to give you an apology from my heart, and I am opening the province, and I am allowing you to live your life, and I will start taking care of long-term care homes. 80% of people who died in long-term care homes,
even higher.
And majority of them had other comorbidities.
Yes.
That's what Christine Elliott said.
So that's a very important point, and I want people to understand that. There's a big difference between dying from COVID and dying with COVID. People die every day from lots of different things. If they just happen to have COVID while they died, it doesn't mean they died from COVID.
Yeah, also, very interesting statistics I found in Health Canada. We do not have flu this year.
Zero. There's no cases of flu anywhere.
Wow, we are in January.
Amazing.
Starting from September to pretty much March, we usually have flu.
Yeah.
And interesting, we do not have flu, but statistics is saying but 16 million of Canadians did flu vaccination.
Why? There's no flu. Why would they get vaccinated for
when
no
I
flu?
read,
There's no flu anymore.
When I read that, I said, why did you go to do vaccination, people? So you did vaccination for flu, and now you're going to go and do vaccination for COVID, which COVID vaccination, even if a lot of scientists are saying it's not vaccine.
Yes.
I'm not going to state it because I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. But even if it is a vaccine, do you believe that in 6 months they could actually prepare a vaccine that is not going to have any casualties? It already does.
It's experimental.
It's
an
already does.
experimental vaccine.
55
It's not even a vaccine. It's experimental gene modification.
23 people died in Norway in long-term care. 55 people died in New York City in long-term care, because long-term care people are guinea pigs.
Actually, this vaccine is actually very dangerous for old people who are already frail. If they're already frail and you give them this vaccine, you could easily kill them with it.
Yeah. The thing is that I read on Moderna website that they are saying that they, even if they did studies and trials, they never done it on elderly people. So they themselves are saying to us, we do not know how elderly people are going to be able to handle it. And after they are saying it, they go for elderly people.
Right. That's their target. That's their target market.
You know what? To me, maybe it sounds very cruel, and maybe a lot of Canadians will not understand me, but I believe that they just want to kill elderly people.
And make money doing it.
And make money doing
profit.
it.
They're
By the way,
by killing people.
By the way, speaking about Bill Gates, he was in Davos. I don't know which year it was, but I listened to his interview because the journalist was taking interview from him, and she actually asked him a question: why, being a Microsoft guy, you decided to go into vaccination? And he openly told her, well, and it wasn't about COVID vaccine, it was because it was prior to this year. I think it was maybe 2017 or 2018. So he says, well, I invested $10 billion and I got back $200 billion. Wow. So people of Canada, wake up, please. Don't kill yourself and don't make Bill Gates even more wealthy, because he is not there to protect your health. He speaks well, but he is not there for this purpose. I always was saying, if something is not right, follow the money. Yeah. And we now know which money we are following. Yeah. I don't know what else I can say. Do you have any questions for me, Mike, that I didn't cover yet?
Well, no, I mean, you made a lot of good points. I mean, it's great to get a little bit of also about more background about how, when you were born and growing up and the things that happened in the Soviet Union, the reasons why you wanted to come to Canada. You know, it's good to understand those things also.
Okay. I was born in Soviet Union, which now is Belarus, and my parents are Holocaust survivors. My papa lost all his family to Holocaust, so I don't know any grandmother or grandfather on my father's side. My father was 12 when war started, and he was on school holiday with his aunt in a different city of Belarus, and that's how he survived being with her, because the part of Soviet Union where my father's family used to live at that time was Poland.
Okay.
So when Hitler came in 1941, on 22nd of June, he entered specifically that city where my family was residing. And after war, my father went there and he was searching, but all the documents were destroyed, so he is the only survivor. He always valued family more than anything else, because he didn't have his own. He had to grow up and he had to learn the profession. He was not educated man. He only finished before the war 4 years of Jewish school, which used to be called Heder, and he actually spoke fluently Yiddish and of course Russian, because it was part of Russia. My mom, on the other hand, was younger, so, and her whole family, they were evacuated completely from Belarus, and they went somewhere to Uralian mountains, because this is where war was not there. It didn't come to that far, because you know Russia is a huge country. But she remembers very well how she was suffering from hunger and from everything. And my mom today doesn't have any teeth. She has to have dentures, because she had, I don't know in English how this sickness called, it's all her gums were infected.
Yes. Okay.
So
Because of probably a nutritional
because of the
deficiency,
malnutrition, because of
malnutrition.
yeah, so because of that she doesn't have any teeth right now. So and then they met. They had me, then they had my brother, and growing up in Soviet Union, I believed actually that I was living in the best country in the world.
Of course.
Because I was brainwashed.
Yeah.
And I was a Komsomol girl. I was first pioneer, and then I was Komsomol girl. And interesting thing I have to tell you, with my other husband, when we decided to leave Soviet Union, I was still in the age when I was in Komsomol organization, and they called me for the for discussion, because I submitted document that I'm leaving Soviet Union. So they called me for discussion, and you know what question they actually asked me?
What did they say?
How can you leave Komsomol organization and Soviet Union? Is your husband and your so I gave them the answer that because my husband wants to leave and it's my family.
Yeah.
And you know what the answer was? Is your husband and your daughter more important to you than Komsomol organization? And you know what? Because I had nothing to lose anymore.
Yeah.
Because they already took away my citizenship and
really?
everything else. Yeah, they took away our citizenship. They stripped us. So I told them, you know what? If you are asking me this question, then I know for fact that I'm making the right decision.
Yes.
By leaving this country. Thank you very much. And off I went.
What year was it?
It was 1979. 1979. It was actually 1978, because for 3 years we submitted our documents for exit visa, because before we received entry visa to any country, we submitted for exit visa. And so it was in 1977, and for 3 years they were actually harassing us and making our life miserable as much as they could by prolonging exit visa. And without exit visa, we couldn't even live. But then they stripped us also from our citizenship, which they did us a favor, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to come to any country as political refugees. So we were stateless, we were persecuted, and that was our ticket to come to the free world. And we come to the free world, and now we see this free world evaporates.
Yeah.
By the minute. So I don't know. I'm just looking at everything. And I'm just trying to say, okay, if we are not going to return Canada to the way Canada used to be, a free country of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and if that's gonna become socialism, fascism, where do I go from here?
Yeah.
At that time, I knew there are lots of countries which are free. Now, I don't know. where do I go? I have to start searching for a better country? Or do I have to have hope? I want to have hope, and I do have hope that we are going to be able to do it here in Canada. But we have to start to have a free debate and discussion. Look what's happening with universities here. Why do people who are opposing the main line are being silenced? Why do speakers cannot come to universities and speak? What's happening with that? Why do children get indoctrinated by whatever propaganda you have? Why can't you give people to have critical mind and critical understanding? Put everything on a table and let us make a choice. Tell us good, tell us bad, but leave it to us. And by the way, why main media is only doing a narrative, and why when I read something from proper doctors, Barrington Declaration, so many doctors wrote to Doug Ford. This is doctors who are frontline doctors. Medical nurses are speaking up. Police people are speaking up. Why this all is not shown on main media? What's up with that? Yeah. And why, when I have friends who are dear friends and we cannot discuss openly different and opposing views without being upset, and now I hear from young people who are saying, we reserve the right to be offended by everything and everyone. Okay, be offended. But I still can speak my mind. And if you don't like what I say, let's discuss, let's talk. I don't mind to talk because I am equipped with a lot of facts. If you are equipped with a lot of facts and you can prove me wrong, I'll say, okay, I will take your point into consideration. But you do not want to talk to me.
No.
Because you do not have facts, but you only can call me racist, misogynist. It's good that I'm Jewish, so you cannot call me anti-Semite.
Well, maybe they will. They'll do that too. Well, you know, it's interesting that you said that right now, because right now the Heritage Minister, Justin Trudeau's Heritage Minister, is talking about censoring people online.
Yeah.
So they want to protect Canadians.
From what?
From being offended.
Okay, we go back to...
So we're gonna censor people's speech to protect their feelings.
I see. We go back to political correctness.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know what? Political correctness is such a BS.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? Canada is a multicultural country. You look at Toronto. 50% of people in Toronto are immigrants.
That's right.
From somewhere.
Yes.
I never seen, you see, I never was offended or offended anybody.
Mm.
If I don't like a person, it doesn't mean I do not like a group of these people.
Right, right. Yeah. Because you judge people based on the individual, not part of a collective.
Yes. I don't understand collective, period.
Yeah.
I just completely do not understand collective. You know what? If I have a problem with you, I'm going to come to you and not being offensive, but I'm going to tell you, you know what, Mike? You did something yesterday which I did not like.
That's fair.
Right? And then you tell me, okay, either you will apologize or you'll tell me, I don't care, or whatever. But that's you and I. Why do I have to be collectively saying that this group is bad and this group is not bad?
Right.
So, yeah, I do not understand where we are going.
Yes.
I do not understand where Canada is going. We have to be the best country in the world. We have to be the best country in the world, and it's up to us to make it. So I don't know what else to say to Canadians.
Well, you know what? Let's just review everything, like go over the things that you saw in the Soviet Union and what's happening here. Just to wrap it up, give people your parting thoughts, just like summarize, quickly and give them, short form.
Okay. Censorship, that's number one. It's already here.
Yeah.
And Justin Trudeau wants to make it even more.
Yes.
It's typical Soviet Union. Snitching, oh my God. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. And you know why snitching happens? Just because people are envious.
Yes.
And jealous. Because I do not wear mask, but she has to. Mm-hmm. Because she believes that. So I am at fault. She is afraid that I am a super spreader, but I am not. Because I am asymptomatic patient, which actually until 2020 it was a healthy person.
Yeah.
So that's snitching for you. Police force.
Yes.
They are not there to protect us anymore, no. Even though they give the nose. But that's how it was in Soviet Union. We were afraid of militia.
Yeah.
And we used to call it militia, not police.
Yeah.
But we were afraid of them. We didn't want to, if I've seen militia men on the street, I would cross on the other side. Even though I was always innocent, I never done anything, but I never knew. So we have it here now. Mm-hmm. I can go in a park and they will tell me that I am without mask. Mm-hmm. Why? Or I can go to the store and the store owner calls police. So that's Soviet Union. What else? Oh, deficit in stores.
Yeah.
I did not talk about that yet. Mm-hmm. In Soviet Union, we used to have lots of deficit products, like bread, like butter, like necessities. Here we didn't get to that yet, but we already had experienced deficit with toilet paper.
Yeah.
Why? Why? First of all, we can produce our own toilet paper in Canada. We don't even need to wait for the border to bring it here. But, for example, this is not a natural deficit. This is artificially done, because in Soviet Union we had artificially done. And the fifth point, elite. We used to have elite. Mm-hmm. And elite had everything. They even had their own special stores where they could go. I'm noticing it here as well. Mm-hmm. Justin Trudeau and Doug Ford believe that they are elite. Mm-hmm. And that I am just nobody.
Well, that's the same thing. The Soviet Union, the rulers they could do whatever they wanted.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so, it's the same thing here now. They are flying off out of the country, going on vacation.
Yeah, so I would like to understand. Doug Ford, I'm not going to talk about Justin Trudeau, because Justin Trudeau definitely wants to sell us to communism. Yeah. I don't have doubts anymore. Yeah. But Doug Ford, do you want to sell our country to communism? I would like to hear the answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, because I sent you lots of information, I'm going to send it again and see if you can send me at least a legitimate answer. And if you want to invite me to your home and we can sit and talk the way I sit and talk right now with Mike, I would be happy to do it in a healthy debate, even without a press. So you wouldn't be embarrassed.
Raisa, thank you very much. I hope we can have another interview later on, a follow-up in a couple of months, and hopefully things have changed and we have some positive, better news.
You're welcome. My final message is Canadians have to wake up. And when we immigrants from former communist parties are talking to you, do not please discard us. We are telling you what we see. We are telling you what we know, what you never knew, because you were born in such a beautiful country that you became so complacent that you say, no, it's not going to happen here. I have a message for you. It's already here.
Thank you very much.